Let's try to work backwards now. I'm going to show you a picture of a line, and you're going to see if you can tell me the equation.
Wow.
Think about this. What things would you need to know about the line to write it in slope-intercept form?
Find the slope.
So you need the slope
And the y-intercept.
and the y-intercept. Right? Right now, the equation can be written generally as y equals mx plus b. So our job is to find m, the slope, b, the y-intercept. Once we know those, we just put it in the equation, and we're done.
So the y-intercept for that one would be -1?
Nope,
Just one.
No?
just 1.
1.
Okay? It crosses at 1, a value of 1 for y.
I thought that was negative.
Okay? So this is the y-intercept. That's easy. Right, so far we have this. What about the slope? That's a little tougher.
Can you just pick 2/3?
2 over 3? Close. It's a negative slope. Perfect. Negative 2 over 3, right? An easy way to do that is just to pick 2 points that you know are on the graph. So I know that this point is on the graph, and I know that this point is on the graph. Rise over run, right? This is a rise of 2, a run of 3. I'm going down and then right. Down is negative, right is positive. So that's -2, or 2 down, over 3. So the slope is -2 over 3. Right, you could do it the long way. You could take the coordinates of each of these points and put them in the slope formula. But that's a little tedious, right? Alright, so I put the slope into my equation. Y equals -2 over 3 x plus 1. And we're done. How exciting!
So exciting.
Now the best part.
What?
We're going to graph it. Alright, so let's graph your very first line ever. Maybe, unless you've done this before. In which case, congratulations. But if not, this is going to be informative for you, I hope. So, start by turning your calculator on. If there's anything there, just press clear. And go to this button in the top left of your calculator called y equals. This is a button that we're going to use to graph pretty much everything that we come across in this course. So hit y equals. And if there's anything there, just press this button clear to make it go away. You can use these arrow keys to navigate up and down. If these words up here, plot, are highlighted like this, okay, see how it's highlighted? You can just put the cursor up there and press enter and it will de-highlight it. We don't want any of our plots highlighted right now. And yeah, okay, so you should have a clear y equals screen like this. We're going to graph the line y equals -2 over 3 x plus 1. So what we do first is we put the -2 over 3 in brackets. So we put a bracket and then -2 over 3 end bracket. To get x in there, we're going to use this button right here. You can see it's got an x as well as a t and a theta and an n. But if you press it, you'll notice that x comes up, and that's the variable that we want to use in our calculator here. And then plus 1. One comment I do want to make is the difference between this button right here, this is the negative sign button, and this button right here, this is the subtract sign. I want you to notice what happens when I use a subtract sign instead. Watch what happens to this dash right here. See how it changed? Okay. And then this is the negative symbol. All right. So those, in the calculator, those mean two different things. We want this to be -2 over 3. If we wanted to subtract a value, we would use this button right here. Like if I wanted this to say -2 over 3x, subtract 1, then I would use this button, right? But I'm just adding here, so I put a plus. But I just want to make sure I'm clear when I say if you want to make something negative, use the negative sign. If you want to subtract, use the subtraction sign, and don't mix the two because your calculator will freak out if you mix them up. All right, so here's our equation. We're now going to graph it. So you hit the button graph at the top right. And if you don't get something that looks like this, just take a moment and go to Zoom. Down to option number 6, you see it says Z standard. Okay, that will create a standard window settings for your calculator. So if you just press enter, you can even press 6 if you want, but Zoom 6 will reset your window settings to a standard window where the X values go from -10 to 10 and the Y values go from -10 to 10 as well. And this is just kind of a standard window that I guess you start with, or you can start with every time you graph a new graph. So here's our graph, right? And if you compare this to what we have in our notes, you'll notice it kind of looks similar to what we had in that diagram. The y-intercept was at +1, and that's pretty close to +1. We can make sure that it's actually +1 by using this function here, trace. If you press trace, it should pop up as 0, 1, which is what the y-intercept was exactly. If it doesn't come up as that, just press 0 to input a value of 0 for x, and that should give you the y-intercept, because when the graph crosses the y-axis, x is 0. And so there's the point. Okay, so we know that the y-intercept is the same as what we have in our notes. Let's just make sure that other points that we have in our notes also match this graph. Okay, so we also had the points 3, -1. Yeah, it kind of looks like we've got 3, -1 there, but we can make sure by pressing trace, making x equal to 3, and if y comes out as -1, then we know that the point 3, -1 lies on that line. And there we go. Okay. Another point we could trace is -3, 3. And on the calculator, it kind of looks like that. But to make sure, we could just press trace -3. That puts in the -3 value for x. And if we get +3 for y, then we know that that point is on the line. And there we go. So it is. Okay, so that's how we graph y equals -2/3x + 1.